and welcome to Coffee with Carrie. I get to talk to people who make Bloomfield Township a wonderful place to live, work, and play. And today I'm delighted to have my guest, our trustee, Val Murray. Welcome, Val.
Thank you. Good to see you.
You too. Your second term.
Yep.
Yes. Val came to us in January of, you would have started earlier, right? In November of 2020 during COVID. And so I'm glad those years are behind us. It's probably a lot easier now. And you've lived in the township since 1985. So tell me, what do you do as a trustee and why did you decide to run?
I love the Bloomfield Township area. We had our 3 boys all born and raised here. We thought it was just a wonderful community, and previous supervisor Dave Payne was my neighbor, and he was very inspirational. And so I just decided at some point that I wanted to get involved. I wanted to give back, and I love being a trustee, which is why I ran again, and I feel honored that the residents gave me this opportunity.
Dave Payne was like, I want to see you every other Monday.
Yeah. No, he doesn't, sadly, he doesn't know that I made this venture, but he served on our subdivision together.
All right.
And he was a good friend and neighbor, and we all sort of liked him and admired his involvement with the township, which obviously kept growing. He was a road supervisor when he became our neighbor back in the 80s.
So the HOAs are kind of a good path to being a trustee, right? Because you know a little bit about what's going on.
Right, and also, and it's a good feeling to get to know your neighbors better in that position. And in this, I love getting to meet the residents, and you can reach out to me at any time. And I truly love this opportunity.
And let me ask you, I feel like it's paid, but not very much.
There's a stipend for meetings.
If you $25, is that it?
No,
something like that.
It's a little more than that.
Is it? Okay, all right.
But it's just board meetings, and if you attend, you don't attend. So it's not a salary. It's not even a part-time job. It's a board position.
Right.
But in addition to being a trustee, we each need to take one other position in the township. And so I'm on Preservation Bloomfield Board. And that's a 501c3. It protects the farmhouse and the cabin that are historic pieces of Bloomfield Township.
Which are really amazing to go and visit those.
They are, and they're on the Bowers Farm property. Thankfully, from the Bloomfield Hill School District allowed us to do that. So what we do is we meet monthly or bi-monthly, and we keep it functional, keep fundraising. We had a big fundraiser in the fall. So in addition to that, I'm also an alternate on the design review board. So when one of the 3 top officials cannot make the meeting, I cover for that. I was there last week.
Was that the one I barged in on? The meeting I barged in on?
You couldn't hear us. Yeah.
Well, it was actually only Mike, because his microphone, for whatever reason, it was kind of cockeyed and wasn't pointed at his mouth. So sorry about that.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure if it was everybody or
no, it was just him.
We also had checking our power, but. And in addition to being on design review board, which is nice because I'm not an employee, I'm not up there every day, I don't know everything that's going on. I learn more what's coming. And in addition to that, when Trustee Shostak became treasurer, he had to get off of the election commission position that was one that he held. And so I was nominated to be on the election commission a year and a half ago. So I served all last year, in a very big election. And I really enjoyed that as well. And it helps me become very knowledgeable. People have questions about the election security is big right now. So I enjoy that too.
Well, and you're wearing red today. I want to make sure that we know that we're kind of twins. I was wearing red for Valentine's Day, but Val is wearing red for...
February is Women's Heart Health.
American Heart Month.
Yeah, I think it's American Heart Association. Something I became aware of years ago when I worked in the schools, and they gave us little red pins. It was like a little red dress, which I lost track of. But women, they always talk about men's heart health, and women's heart health is a tremendous issue.
Well, I was at
overlooked.
Their website says it's the number 1 cardiovascular disease is the number 1 killer of women. So
it is.
We want to raise awareness for that.
Right. So, and whether we talk about that or not today, I just felt like, I forgot about Valentine's Day, honestly, until you said it. But I said, it's Women's Heart Health Month. That's why I'm wearing red. So, usually I forget to coordinate those things.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you for that reminder, Val. And I do want to also let people know that there's a special concert this Friday on Valentine's Day in case you're wondering what you want to do on Valentine's Day. If there's something you haven't made plans yet, This is a concert that we will be covering. This is Spectrum Orchestra, and we do record this, and it will be broadcast later on our channel, but in case you want to go in person.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So what are the top issues today? What are you thinking about now as we move forward into 2025?
Well, it's not a top issue, but a current issue is that we're going to be moving into the cable station because you were overseeing the redecoration and updating of the Township Hall Auditorium. So we have that.
About 6 weeks we'll be here.
Yeah. So we also have contract negotiations with the fire department coming up this year, and then all of the contracts next year. So,
but they may open early. I mean, that's what I've heard a rumor that I think that they're going to open early and that they'll be discussed prior to next year. So that's was part of the compensation study. Gave us a lot of good information so that we remain an attractive employer. The people that work here that I've had the opportunity to get to know, being a trustee, I just am continually impressed with our staff. And we thought really with what all you've done since you came on as director, because we did not have a director when I came in. It was COVID, and staff at the cable station had really... Yeah, I think they were down to 2.5.
Yeah. Greg and Steve were like holding it up. Yeah. So we made a lot of good changes, and just always room for more improvement, and possibly the fire station 3. We're looking at that's very antiquated and trying to get the funding to renovate that.
This is a $10 million project, so it's going to require, I think, help outside the township, and I think that's what's being looked at in addition to...
Mike is already making connections with some of our elected leaders and in Lansing to try and see if we can get some funding for that. And the other thing is that the police station is also short on space, and they need to do some renovation or more than just renovation in addition.
A whole new building.
Well, I mean, if we find the funding, that would be awesome.
Right, yes. About the police department, so our animal shelter is one of those, it's within the police department. Animal shelter, or is it a shelter, or what's the difference between, there's a shelter and what's the other one that's,
I believe we call it animal shelter. There's just the one, though.
No,
welfare.
There's animal shelters, and then there's that help animals in a different way. Animal rescue. It's not a rescue. It's a shelter. And so, what's the difference between the two?
Well, the animal shelter is, like you said, controlled by the police department. We have 2 officers that work there who are awesome, Chris and Betsy. As you know, I'm
I know you're a person. Yes, you are.
I volunteered for Tail Waggers and Michigan Animal Rescue League, and currently I'm with Michigan Humane. I love fostering.
Yes.
And
do you have any fosters right now?
I do not right now, but I'm closing in on 200, and my thing with my husband
200, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I kid my husband, and I say about every 50 I get to keep one.
Yeah.
As long as I don't go over the limit. Right now we're at the limit, so I can't add, but we have 3 rescues, and it's something that I always had interest in, and once I got involved, totally love it, and it's so rewarding, and it's totally volunteer.
Right. Who do you foster with, and then how do you what are the responsibilities? How do you become a foster parent?
You just contact one of these organizations. Like I said, Michigan Animal Rescue does a great job. Michigan Humane Society does an awesome job as well. And you apply to them, you let them know you're interested, they send you a whole application so they see, are you a good current parent to the animals you have, what's your availability, are you interested in dogs or cats, whatever. And for example, with Michigan Animal Rescue, I would just get like a phone call or a text like, hey, we got a litter, can you come get them? Yeah. Whereas with Michigan Humane, it's a much bigger organization, and so what happens is I get a daily email, and it says, we have 23 animals.
So if you're an animal lover,
and you can
always talk to Val.
You go through the list, and we were out of town, and I said, well, there's this mom and 5 kittens, can I pick them up on Tuesday when I'm home? And it's very... much more structured and organized. They do an awesome job too. And what I learned is they have something called safety net. So say you have to be in the hospital for a month or leave town for a month to take care of a family member, and you don't want to surrender your animal, but you need somebody to help you because there's nobody else.
Right.
So they have a thing called safety net, and so in addition to the fosters they need, you can look and say, oh, there's a dog, they need help for 3 weeks. And
you can volunteer for that.
Volunteer for that. It's really cool.
if you want to contact you can always email you at the Township here, zmurray@bloomfieldpwp.org. Put that up there. And then the organization that you're talking about is, again?
This is Michigan Humane.
So you can reach out to them to be a foster. I know you do a lot of preparation. I just want to ask this one question because I don't think I've talked to one of the other trustees about it. What do you have to do to prepare for a trustee meeting? I mean, there's like a packet. So when does the packet get delivered? How much time do you have with it? And then when does it become available for residents to review the packet?
So the main three people that run the township, they prepare, Martin prepares the agenda and the packet, and the trustees really, unless we've had a communication with them for something specific, we don't necessarily know what's going to be on the agenda. We might know, like, this item's coming back, but so on Thursday afternoon, I watch my email and I get a packet, which might be 150 pages. It might be as much as 450
Thursday afternoon for the Monday meeting.
For a Monday meeting. And so I try and get to it quickly, although with Friday not being, a scheduled office day, for sure over the weekend or by Monday morning, if I have questions for finance, for a department head, whoever, I can email in those questions, which helps us not have, like, enormously long meetings of every single little question. If I can get some simple things answered before the meeting, then I don't have to take that time.
And then it's published on Thursday as well?
On Thursday, right. We get the minutes in advance from the previous meeting, like on a Tuesday, say, and if there's any adjustments, corrections, typos, or whatever, they try and fix those, and then they launch it all on Thursday, and that's when we get it as well for a Monday night meeting.
Okay. Any other thoughts on what it's like to be a trustee, or to encourage other people to run? What do you think about?
Definitely want to encourage other people to run. It's not as daunting a task or difficult to run. I feel like I don't like money in politics. So the first time I ran, I said I shouldn't have to spend a fortune or take money. So I took no money from anyone. Only bought my lawn signs and said, it was COVID, so we couldn't meet in person, which was hard. So in 2024, it was very different because we could get out and meet people, which made it much more
going out and knocking doors. That's how you get it done.
Well, or just attending things. I would attend groundbreakings for the school, and I would attend chamber coffees, and I would, go to events. Representing the township now on this side, which I wasn't in 2020, but also it gets me out meeting people. And I've had many residents reach out. I've even been to a couple of homes when they've had issues that they wanted me to see in person, and made some great connections with residents, and that's one of the things that I truly love. And definitely encourage people to get involved because it's very interesting and it's very rewarding.
Right. Well, I think that's one of my favorite parts about the job too, is meeting the residents when they just pop into the studio and say hello, which people are welcome to do anytime. That's the fun part, seeing where people are coming from, what their issues are, and Val, we thank you for your service to the community. We appreciate it. And yes.
Thank you. I love this opportunity, and glad to have another 4 years coming.
Great. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time on Coffee with Carrie.